What's up, peeps? Me and Joe. Hey, we popping off early, Joe. Me and you here. Guys, I can't talk super loud because my son is literally sleep right behind us. So, Joe, what's up, man?
What's going on? Days away. Days away.
We're what 14 wake ups away? Is it
14.
exactly 7 days, Joe?
2 weeks away.
That's crazy.
14
Um,
days, bro.
it's we're at the now we're at the season where um I call this the BS season where
Yeah, yeah.
people start forgetting uh they start forgetting common sense. um
Yeah.
Random players start flying up the board, random
All the
players start
time.
falling off.
Every year.
And today what I wanted to bring you in on, Joe, obviously, um the ongoing debate, Joe, has been what the Kyle Pitts and not, and we'll touch on that. But
Hey,
I wanted to
bro.
bring you in.
Man, you know what? That debate is like so crazy. I miss the Dak Prescott debates.
Hey, look, hey, Joe. I can't even lie to you. I can't even lie to you, Joe. I would rather debate. I miss the Z contract debate compared to this crap.
I'm telling you.
I
I
lie
know, man.
I lie to you not. I had Make sure you guys follow me and Joe on Twitter. The tweeter is going up and it's stuck. Okay. I had between me and Vach always have good heated debates. But then when you had Peanut Gallery, which I'm not gonna say you guys are Peanut Gallery because we appreciate your guys' takes. Don't get us wrong there. We don't think that we know it all. But I think what happens is people stop disregarding other folks' I wouldn't say their takes, but they stop disregarding like if Joe has a side and I have a side, we'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna run my side into the ground, or I don't think Joe will run his side of this debate or this argument into the ground. Like,
Yeah.
we could jump straight into it, Joe. We're live. It's 10:30 on a Friday. I mean on a Thursday. It's all good. I'm on the side of, look, I love Kyle Pitts. I think when you tell people that you would rather draft another player than Pitts because of what it does for this team, people think that you don't like him. And
Yeah.
it's not that. Like, we all want to say BPA, but if Trevor Lawrence was available, Dallas wouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence. If one of these quarterbacks is available and you have him rated than the player you're going to pick, you're not going to draft one of these quarterbacks. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the truth, But even saying that, there will be the person out there that says, "Yeah, I would take Trevor Lawrence." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess they're all on Twitter, right, Joe?
Yeah, it's that time of year, man. I try to all we can do is give our opinions, and it's all mock season. Some people go a little bit overboard with it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be Pitts, and that's the end of it. Like, dude, like Stephen Jones said, you got to keep an open mind, right? So maybe he's foreshadowing something for us.
Yeah, about that. I I hated that he said that because unfortunately, oh, my aunt's on here. Hey, auntie. My aunt in California, she's on here. Hey, auntie, love you. From my
Awesome.
grandma. That's awesome. Hey, auntie Roz, she basically took care of me when I was a kid. Well, not really. My mom was there, but that's definitely my favorite aunt by far. Well, I shouldn't say that by far. I don't want my other aunts to get mad, but I love you,
Right.
auntie. Hey, look, I'll never be too old to shout out my family, Joe.
Yeah,
Uh,
she did a good job. Great job.
uh, the Pitts thing, man. It's kind of like, it's kind of just like, please, Miami, just take them. Please, just take them. So that way we don't have to, as a fan base, go through this, because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, Joe. You're gonna draft Pitts if he got to you, and we're gonna have the same tackle issues, which you, Joe, have been extremely, like, I don't know if you guys have. Me and Joe have been doing this now, going on 3 years, and we've grown, and the channels have grown. I'll never forget when Joe rose the question. He might even did a video about Tyron Smith's health. So I'm going to continue to look in the camera, and I want fans to really tell me, why would you want to go through another season with bad tackle play if you don't have to? Like, if somebody can give me that answer, because data has shown us what, Joe?
You lose games when Tyron Smith is not out there and Brandon Knight's out there and Terrence Steele out there. You can have all the weapons, and we did. What happened to 40 Burger? It went out the window.
I mean, it's almost like Cowboys fans, and I get it, because as a football fan, you're watching highlights. So and see, there goes somebody, you know. I'm tired of hearing. Let's bring this comment on the screen. I'm tired of hearing about our tackle problems. Well, they're not going to go away. The control 124. So I get it. You're tired of hearing them, but guess what? You just spent a bunch of money on a quarterback. Why would you want to have Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele protecting Dak Prescott when, not if, but when Tyron Smith gets hurt? If you can tell me that, I'll give you a super chat. Like, I'll send you some money. If you can give me a logical reason as to why you would ever want Terrence Steele, the same Terrence Steele that Bradley and I destroyed. Bradley and I destroyed him.
Yeah, at the Senior Bowl. Just tore him up.
There's film. There's
Yeah.
film. So tell me why. And don't tell me, this is what you're not allowed to do. Don't tell me, oh, we can get a guy if in the second round. They're not the same. It's not the same caliber of player.
Yeah, because you get into the second round. I think the only one that I would consider in the second round, and if he's even there, would be Eichenberg. You know what I mean? So, and there's a chance that he won't even be there. But if you're talking about like Leatherwood and then these other guys, yeah, it's a fine line. You know what I mean? But man, it's this draft really can go in any direction, Foot. So it's like, you know, if they do the Kyle Pitts thing, you know, and I would think that you would have to move back in the first to make a move. You know, whether you're going to go back into the first and get an old lineman or back in the first to get your cornerback. It's got to be one of those two, I would think, Foots.
Yeah, because I mean, we got to start. I just, you know, me and I'm not trying to, but you know, call you out the Control 24. I mean, we appreciate all comments.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, sure.
But let's start being at some point being objective here. You guys can say score points and all that. You got to build a good football team. The truth of the matter is, the same Patrick Mahomes is doing behind the back passes. I hate how talented Patrick Mahomes is, because now what's happened is forced even the quarterbacks. Like, I did not like Zach Wilson doing the throwback pass across his body. I thought it was corny. Like you don't. That's not a good. I don't want my quarterback doing that stuff. I want to know, how well does he drive the ball? I don't want him going out there I want everybody to remember, draft season, this is what happens. They're running around in shorts. They're running around and, you know, basically non-football attire, right, Joe? And sure enough, it looked like Johnny Manziel had the greatest pro day ever. He sucked in the league. He sucked.
Yeah.
So did Jamarcus Russell. He could throw what on his knee like 80 yards. He sucked in the league.
Knees or some crap.
Yeah. So like, but back to my Patrick Mahomes point, is like, dog, Patrick Mahomes looked like an average quarterback with a bad line. He did, Joe. Like, he looked like an average quarterback against that Bucs defense with backups in there.
Yeah, they are. It was a different offense, and then the Bucs defense. That's the other point about this draft is, last year we wanted to fix the defense. They didn't really do enough, in my opinion. I love Diggs, but I think like you could have done more. And I think they're in the right direction with Diggs, Gallimore, but I don't think you can take your foot off the pedal on addressing the needs on defense, right, Foot? So it's like, I look at this and I hope that we can just continue to fix the defense. You know what I mean? And then the common sense kind of, you know, reigns in this one.
Yeah, I mean, and You know, I think another, I think another thing that I think that's not being brought up too, Joe, is that how does Slater help your defense? Well, if Tyron Smith is right for the first couple of games or whatever, we got a 17-game season now. I want you guys to remember that. Then he plays guard. He's right now a better guard than Connor Williams. Put him at guard. Forget about it. You see Ezekiel Elliott working. I tweeted it out today. Get Zeke back going. Let's get back to playing ball control football. Yes, we have the weapons, but let's get back to – that's how you help your defense. You help your defense by keeping them off the field, okay? Eating up clock, eating up long drives, doing that type of stuff. That's how Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell – I truthfully believe that Sewell's going to go to the Bengals, and then you got to watch Carolina. If he gets past Carolina and Detroit, if Slater gets past Detroit, I think he's a Cowboy. I think – and Detroit is in the market for a receiver. So
yeah,
that's where we watch. But, you know, that's kind of like, I guess we springboarded right into it, Joe, talking about the Pitts and Slater deal. But, I mean, hey, if you get wiped out, obviously you have to do what you have to do 100%. But I'm just saying though, like, I don't want fans going in. I just don't want you guys to get your feelings hurt if we don't draft Pitts. I think that's where me and Joe have been this whole time.
Yeah. And you know, it happens every year. You know, last year, you know, there was the contingency that was all on board for K'Lavon Chaisson, but the pick ended up CeeDee Lamb. And I don't think any of us hated that, you know, and then that could be another scenario this draft. So, you know, I think fans have to be ready for either side. You know what I mean? If it's Pitts, okay, let's get on board. If it's not, let's get on board. So if Pitts is there, they pass on him, and you got to get on board because they're moving on, you know. So we'll see what happens, man. And I think it's just going to be a very interesting draft. The Cowboys always surprise us. All of our mock drafts that all of us do, a big chunk of them are always incorrect. They come out with names that nobody really focuses in on. You know what I mean, Fuzz?
Yeah, I mean, listen, last year, and I'm trying to pull something up here, Joe, but last year, when you talk about K'Lavon Chaisson, let's talk about Chaisson for a second. I was a big K'Lavon guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't help this defense, and actually it was a blessing in disguise because he's more of a 3-4 fit. So you would have been in no man's land this year trying to find a fit for him. It worked out for the better. You know, that's the draft. You know, I just think that you were, you know, even the corner talk, you know, just be careful, man. Like, they could roll the dice and, you know, Zaven Collins, step on up. Like, that's how the draft works, you know, and that's why I kind of wanted to get, you know, your thoughts, Joe, and even chat box. Is there a guy, because the closer we get, you just keep hearing, you know, Surtain. I really haven't heard a lot of buzz around Horn, which I love the play. I actually have Horn rated higher than Surtain, but I love the player. Yeah. Is there a player, Joe, that will make you sick, or not even make you sick? Because I don't want to poop on these guys. Because any of these guys could come in and under the right situation, do their thing and be great. But is there a player, Joe, that makes you say, I didn't see that coming?
I think it would be the Kwity Paye, you know, the one that DJ mocked, the Kwity Paye at 10. You know, and I think, and, you know, I was listening to him and he said, you know, could a pass rusher go in the top 10? You know, because it's such a it's just like O-line. These trench guys, edge rushers, O-linemen, cornerbacks, you know, those are who people trade up for. You know, Denver could be in the market for edge rusher. I mean, Atlanta Falcons, I think there's going to be a moment like every year, there's the moment where a name comes up really early and you're like, wow, didn't see that coming, not this high. But it happens. Every year it happens. So hopefully,
who was there 2 years ago, Joe, from the Raiders? That happened, and we were kind of like, "What the hell?" It's a D lineman. I never forget his name.
Was it Farrell?
Farrell, 12. It was like, I think it went like 4. Everybody's like, what?
And man, in Mayock, they missed on a whole lot of people. They just cut Arden. They cut
Arden
Mo
Key.
Hurst.
They cut Mo Hurst.
Yeah, they
Michigan.
cut Mo. Yeah, they waived him and Arden
Yeah,
Key. So
I
that's
think I
crazy.
think I think Mayock. He may have one more year, then he's back to NFL Network.
Yeah, he'll be doing draft coverage again.
He'll be covering it, but he won't be drafting. He'll be
Yeah.
like Charlie Casserly. By the way, I mean Casserly. How out of touch is this guy? I saw he had a mock, and mock draft season is fun. He had Justin Fields lasting 24 to Pittsburgh, and I was kind of like, okay, this dude has absolutely no clue of what's going on. I just kind of thought that was funny, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe there could be a scenario, but I don't think it would be Fields. If somebody were to drop that far, I would look more like Mac Jones. You know what I mean?
Man, Joe, you know what's so crazy? I never in my wildest dreams thought that Mac Jones would even be in top 10 consideration. I never even thought that he would be considered as a top 10 player, let alone if you ask a lot of analysts, there's a lot of analysts who have him as a lock to San Francisco. Like people keep laughing at me. Like I'm in a lot of draft circles and they laugh at me when I tell them like, dog, do not be surprised if Mac Jones goes to the Niners. For whatever reason, they really like this guy. So I got DJ's post up. He says Micah Parsons. That was gonna be mine, Joe. That I do. So the Kwity Paye thing is actually interesting. Let's hit back on that for a second. Is Daniel Jeremiah, very plugged in NFL circles? Does he know something, Joe, or is this? Because that was interesting. And I remember I brought Kwity Paye up a while ago, and it was kind of like, oh, I don't like him, but I was like, he plays the run very well. Very DeMarcus Lawrence-esque. He's not bendy guy, but he's gonna play defensive end how Dallas wants to. Is this what is this, Joe? Because the fact that DJ mocked that does have a he's very plugged in NFL circles, whether we like it or not.
No, yeah, he is. He's definitely plugged in, and he has a lot of contacts still. He's a well-respected scout, and I think him and Bucky Brooks are very connected. They hear the whispers, and they drop little information here and there that they can. But I know they hear more than what they want to put out there. But the Kwity Paye one, I think there's something to that possibly. Maybe if not the Cowboys, somewhere in that range. It could be somewhere in the mid top 10 to like 15. So I mean, edge rushers are a premium foot. So Ojulari, Kwity Paye, these guys, they could go very earlier than a lot of people are thinking. So it could be something to it.
Yeah. And then I have DJ on the screen. You guys make sure you guys get the super chats going. We appreciate all that. And then tomorrow we're going live on Joe's channel. We got something cool for you guys. We're hitting it, man. This is what me and Joe do. It's actually cool that we've been doing live stuff more so we can get you guys involved. Parsons. Let's talk Parsons for a second, Joe. What's the fit here? To me, I see like if I'm drafting Micah Parsons, I'm drafting him to play Will, but I just brought in a Will and Neil. So if I draft Parsons, that means Jalen Smith's off the field. And I think Dallas likes Micah Parsons. I do. I think they may see a, Patrick Queen type player, guy that can run in space, can do some things off the edge, that can blitz, a freak of an athlete that Dan Quinn will say, I can do some nice things with this player. What are your thoughts, Joe?
I think, that he's definitely on their board. I think they have a first round grade on him for sure. We talk about how many grades are in the first round. It's around 15 or so, right? 15, 18, somewhere like that. So is he in that group? I would say he is, very athletic, the long arms, 11-inch hands. I mean, he has everything you want. Like if you want to build a superhero type linebacker, Micah Parsons checks all those boxes. The only thing is, the passion for the game. You do hear about those things, so there's a little bit of that, and on
That's
the off.
that's a real thing though.
Yeah, yeah, that's a real thing for a lot of these NFL players, even veterans. I mean, we're kind of questioning that with Lyle. So, I mean, every team deals with it. So, you just got to roll the dice on some of these guys, and it's very risky. Doing something risky like that, and where we're at, number 10. It's almost you. I don't want to say you want to go the safe route, the safe pick, but at 10, you don't want to really screw around with that pick.
No, you don't. And I'll take it a step further, Joe. I think that I like this. I like this comment right here. Let's get this super chat on. Let's get this super chat on. I'm falling out crying. If Minnesota Taco is taken, that's funny. That's a good one. Thank you, Right Side, for the super chat. Thank you, Donnell, for the super chat.
Donnell.
I like JOK if we trade back for some reason. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
With Parsons, right? I think if he's right, I think if Micah Parsons loves football, then cool. Hey, you could. I see a forward player, but I see a guy who closes well, who plays physical, all that good stuff. But like you said, even like with Lyle Collins, let's go back to that for a second in this tackle situation, because I'm going to actually bring up one that could be a curveball that's actually in a good way, meaning that it's somebody, Joe, who it could be like, didn't see that coming, but he's been flying up draft boards, and he could actually help this team. And so somebody raised the question, Joe, about what if Slay and Penei Sewell are gone. And I'm going to ask you this, Joe.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech tackle, Darrisaw.
Yeah.
What's the drop off between him and Slater? Because I like him. Like I feel like he's really good. And with Dallas, would he be that surprise pick that could be in a good way? Like, man, you know what? We're gonna fix this tackle position no matter what. We're gonna get said player, Christian Darrisaw. Because I do like Jenkins from Oklahoma State, but I like Tevin Jenkins a lot, and like Cosme and those guys, but I think Jenkins struggles with speed. Darrisaw's feet are better. So could he be that guy in a good way? That's like surprising, but helps.
Yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? I don't think he's getting enough talk. You hear that he's not the biggest finisher. Now, if Darrisaw had the finishing ability of Tevin Jenkins, Darrisaw would be in that top 5, top 10 conversation. You know what I mean? But he has all those measurables too. You know what I mean? And I say this about drafting an offensive lineman that doesn't have everything a full package. Like if you're drafting outside of Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater, I believe in Joe Philbin. You know what I mean? You look at what he did with Brandon Knight. I'm not saying that he was an all-star or something, but he was able to continue to develop him. Terrence Steele struggled very bad, very poorly at the beginning of the season. Towards the back end of the season, he did show improvement. You know what I mean? So I think Joe Philbin is a really good offensive line coach. Probably one of the better ones that we've had. So if you believe in your O-line coach that you can coach up Darrisaw to fine tune some of his I guess weaknesses, you could say. I think you'll have somebody in here that could start there at tackle, and if Tyron Smith gets injured, I mean when he does. You keep Darrisaw in there, and then you make Tyron your swing guy. I mean, this is where his career is going. Like seriously, that's where it's going.
Yeah. Jerry says he's kind of going back to what we were talking about with Parsons and Jalen. I think he's spot on. I think honestly, I think that Parsons will probably give you more burst. I think unfortunately the thing with Jalen too is like the injury, he overcame it, and Cowboys fans were so excited to get him on the field, and he like had that season where he kind of overachieved. Then I think he's just like back to reality. Like this guy just is going to be a tick slow, and that's just kind of like who he is. I still think there's a possibility he can get cut depending on what they do in the draft. So
yeah. I the thing about Jalen when I see him, I think that his injury was so horrific. he has a lot of problems shedding offensive linemen because that's how he injured himself. He was trying to shed, and he destroyed his freaking knee and his in that nerve. And he has a big problem shedding offensive linemen. Like if you look at it, it's like you see him a little bit timid footed. When he's trying to shed, it's almost like he's trying to protect from not having another devastating injury. And I think that's a big problem in a linebacker. You need a linebacker who's going to like get this guy off of me, and go hit that run fit. And Jalen just doesn't have that.
Yeah, man. And that's so much of the league is these big guys coming at you. Big tackles and guards climbing second level. I mean, really nobody plays with a fullback anymore. So, San Francisco has a pretty good fullback, Hugh Check or whatever his name is. I think he's from Princeton. But the point of the matter is, but the guards getting to you second level, and like you said, shedding, playing physical, the whole nine. I think that Jalen's just a tick off. Really sucks. I want to show this one, Joe. Let's talk about this. Penn State didn't ask Parsons to drop in coverage, and with that 4.4 speed, I think he can do it. I like Zaven over Parsons, but I think Parsons can be a Swiss Army knife, rushing middle linebacker in the flex. Okay, W right side. I like the way you're talking. Like that's fine. If you're a defense, so if he's sitting on the board, the scouts have evaluated, and Quinn comes in and says, "Okay, let's talk about what I need him to do in this 4-3. Can he do this? He's smart enough to take this on." The scouts say he can, Joe. That's how he could possibly end up being a pick for Dallas. So, and I like what Right Side said. Give me reasons why. Okay, the 4-4 and the change of direction is good. The only issue, and here's why I'm gonna push back a little bit, Right Side, and then Joe, feel free to jump in. The instincts. So, linebackers are instinct positions. There were times on film where I saw Parsons out of position. What are your thoughts on that, Joe? I know the 4.4 speed is going to intrigue a lot of teams.
Yeah. So his instincts are not on par, like I said, like a Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton has instincts where he can anticipate where the person's going to be. I mean, the running back's going to run. I think Nick Bolton's like on-field intelligence is underrated. I think he can read the offense, and I don't think enough people talk about that. They're too focused on his height. 5'11". It's almost 6 foot, man. I mean, there's been some really good 5'11" linebackers in this league. I think Nick Bolton could be that. But back to Parsons, if Parsons had that element in his game, I think he would be a complete linebacker and completely worthy of number 10. You know what I mean? If he had that, but that's where he's kind of missing that, and that's where I think Zaven Collins does have that over him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I saw with Zaven Collins is, and another name that it might make some Cowboys fans sick, as we kind of stick with the theme of this live stream. Foots would love that pick. I would do a backflip, because the one thing that I see with Zaven Collins is the ability to turn, run, and cover. And whereas Parsons has great size, doesn't always show up, especially because he's always playing forward. With Collins, you see the quarterbacks just lose him. Like in cover 3, Joe, when they're asking him to be like a middle of the field defender, like that shallow middle area, man, Collins, it's crazy. It's like quarterbacks forget he's on the field.
Yeah.
He had a lot of interceptions like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, Zaven Collins makes a lot of plays like that. In the hips, he's able to turn and get up. Now, physical, like me, and this one thing I love about Joe. We were talking linebackers. We were like, man, Chad Surratt, we would stay away from that dude. He's not physical enough. But I guess I just say that to say, like, I don't look at Collins and say he's some physical beast. Like, he's gonna come blow you up. That's Nick Bolton. That's Micah Parsons. That's Dylan Moses. That's their game.
Yeah.
But he's gonna get you to the ground. I remember we covered Rashawn. What's my guy? Rashawn. That was his game right there, Joe. He banged you. you going down. But
I still miss that pick.
I know because he's playing good in Tennessee.
Yeah, he is. He is. But he does miss some time as well. So it's kind of like these linebackers. You know, it's like, man, who's the more healthy one out of that group? You know.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just say, but I would not mind Collins. I don't know if Dallas would make that pick. Where would he play, Joe? Middle. You're not moving on from unless you're ahead. Now we haven't talked about this enough, Joe. What are the plans of this team with LVE moving forward?
Honestly, I think the plan is trying to grab a linebacker in the first 2 rounds, and then you can decide we're not going to pick up the 5th-year option. Now, if they don't get somebody, that they feel that they could, take the torch from LVE next season, they might just go ahead and pay him that 5th-year option. But, being as cheap as this team is, I think they'd rather move on, honestly. And then the neck, I think that's still, it's a concern. If he's going to make a tackle, is he going to get up? I don't, it's unfortunate, but it is. He'll make a tackle, and then as fans, we're watching like, dude, are you going to get up?
I think the best thing I've heard all off season about Leighton Vander Esch is that like when his neck's bad, he plays like his neck is bad.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember a game. Fans, help me out. Well, chat box, help me out. I don't remember a game last year where LV just looked dominant.
Yeah, he didn't look the same. Yeah. He didn't look like his rookie year. His rookie year, he looked like, dang, okay, we hit on this. I'm glad we didn't get Ridley. I'm glad we didn't move up for Derwin James. We got a linebacker, and then the injury, and then that was it.
Yeah, and the thing is, we covered that. That was the thing. Like, we covered that him coming out. That was when we talk about, Joe. Let's talk about this. Is why this is what you get with us. We're not just gonna, fanboy Kyle Pitts for the next 2 weeks. Like, we're gonna give you guys the real, because guess what? LVE was a name, I'll never forget this. Like a week out of nowhere, his name started popping up. He's like a week out of the draft. So I remember Cortland Sutton was in that draft, a couple other players. No. And it was like, who? I mean, I like LVE, but like at, what was it, 18 we were picking that year?
Yeah, 18.
But it came out of nowhere. I think another name, Joe, that I think that people, get ready. I would not be surprised if Greg Newsome was picked at 10 if they got wiped out of corners and they really were dead set on corners. Little rich for me.
No.
But Newsome could be a name because they'll say, well, he's the last clump of that A1 corner. Because let's say Horn goes corner, let's say Carolina goes corner, let's say for whatever weird reason Atlanta goes corner.
Yeah.
And then you're wiped out of the tackles because since he goes tackle and, Detroit goes tackle, they want to protect Jared Goff. Now you're wiped out.
Absolutely, man. I think that this is a logical conversation, because, we talk about 15 to 18 first round of graded players. Greg Newsome's in there. So if you're at 10, you can't move back too far because you might miss on him because other teams, they could have him rated like that too. So, if that's the case, what's the difference between 15 and 10? Are you okay drafting him at 15? If so, well, what's the difference of taking him in at 10? You know what I mean? So I think it's definitely a good point by you, Foots. And what I love about your point is a prime example of this, like where you're going through a certain tier and you're down to your last guy is the DeMarcus Lawrence. The whole thing when we got DeMarcus Lawrence was this is the last guy that we feel has that bend who can be a pressure player. We got to move up and get him. This would be similar, but with Greg Newsome, because you would be like, okay, we're getting wiped out. Greg Newsome is the last guy that we really have rated here. Let's go ahead and take him now.
Yeah, you knocked that out of the park, Joe. I think that's spot on because I think that Greg Newsome is the last true outside corner that would be ready to go year one, Joe. And I I mean, there's parts of his game that I like better than it's just what it Northwestern asked him to do. But there's parts of his game that I like better than Surtain. I think Surtain is more of a I think he's the best technician, but I like Greg Newsome's long speed. I like how he plays in off man. He plays really, really good in off man. He does some good things in cover 3 as well, so I like him. Let's get to this super chat. Go, Joe. We got a Big Country. So he dropped 20 in there. Thank you so much, Big Country. Let's talk about this.
Country.
Let's talk about this, Joe.
Yeah.
Should the Cowboys double dip at DT? I want a true one tech. We need to fix the run defense. Double dip where? Because this team has told you, Big Country, and thank you for the super chat and the question, but they have shown time and again they will not use a high resource on a one tech. It's not going to happen. They don't value that position. There's no value that position in Dallas.
Yeah, for one tech, I think if they did double dip at one tech, it would be a way later round guy. And we know that the late round guys are usually camp bodies, practice squad, candidate type of guys, so I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen, but if it did, that one tech would be way at the end of the draft. You know what I mean?
I completely agree, Joe. And I think, Big Country, you got to keep in mind too, buddy. What is Dan Quinn asking his defense to do? He ain't worried about no big 350 guy plugging up the middle in the run. He wants to get to the quarterback before he wants to fly around to the football. If you can't run, he probably ain't trying to draft you.
This is another thing too about Dan Quinn. He, if I remember correctly, they did draft that one kid, and he was a complete bust. So there might be a little bit of what do you call it? Hesitation. You know what I'm talking about? Who was that guy they drafted? He was a complete utter bust.
Who's that? Who's that?
From the Atlanta Falcons, they drafted that one defensive tackle.
Oh, you talking about man? What school did he go to? Vosh, help us out, man. What school did he go to?
But that's what I'm saying. There might be some hesitation on, I have to find.
No, because Dallas wanted him. It wasn't Poe. It was
Poe.
What was his name? He had the dreads. I remember that kid too.
Yeah,
he was on the Cowboys. He was a complete bust.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. I think
there it is. Tack.
Yeah, so for Dan Quinn, it would be I gotta find somebody that doesn't have these types of bad traits. So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. I don't think getting Urban and who was it, Davis, this other guy, I don't think that stops them from addressing the defensive tackle position. We still got to see what Tristan Hill will be. I mean, there's some promise there, but Gallimore, I think, is the guy that is going to take that next step. But I want some more fresh blood in there.
Yeah, I mean, and you got that in the later rounds. And I'll be honest with you, Alabama kid, I'm good on.
That's
Barmore.
That's right.
Oh, it was a Hageman. Yeah. Hey, Vosh. Why is Vosh giving me hell? Vosh said.
What did he say?
He said I'm sleepy. hey, you know what, Vosh? I had to coach the kids today. Me and Joe talked about this show earlier. Vosh is crazy, y'all. Y'all got to go watch this. Vosh pulled up on a live stream in a moving truck. This dude is crazy, man.
I saw that, dude. That was cracking up, man.
Vosh he's a trip. Hey, Vosh, I am sleepy, but we're going to push through because Draft Talk will never get so. Actually, I'm on Vosh line because Vosh is leading the Kyle Pitts train at this point, Joe. I feel like Vosh.
I thought Vosh was O-line guy.
I know. This is what's crazy to me. Vosh does all these great breakdowns when it comes to these O-linemen. And now he got us drafted. I feel like Vosh was the one who drafted us, CeeDee Lamb. He called that. Got to give it to him.
Yeah. Shout out to Vosh, man. The soothsayer. Yeah.
he got us that. And now I'm telling Vosh, he's telling me that what's his name is going to get some it's just going to be better all of a sudden. I guess he thinks that Tyron will just be great. And then and that Lyle Collins, I still can't believe that Lyle Collins' agent put out that he wouldn't retire, which lets me know that there was some talk about him retiring. But anyway, Vach, if you're still in the chat box, Pitt, Slater, Sewell, Horn, I'll take either of these. That's what Vach Lombardi is saying. The great Vach. Okay, Vach. Well, we'll leave it there. I won't give you too much hell. Anyway, so where are we at, Joe? When it comes to I don't see Dallas doing. I'm not drafting a D tackle in the first 3, maybe 4 rounds. This draft is too nice for what we need. I mean, tell me what linebackers are still on the board. I'll tell you, like I told Jeff Kavanaugh, man, I like Dylan Moses. Like, there's a lot of linebackers that will still be left on this board that you have no idea what you're doing. You don't know right now what you're doing with late LV. We just said that. And to me, D tackle, it's just not a priority. I don't feel, and I don't feel like Dallas feels it would be one either.
Yeah, it's just not. It's like it's deep rooted in the organization. Safety and defensive tackle just aren't. They just don't hold the value. Which I totally disagree. I know fans disagree. All of us disagree that there should be more value in those positions for this team. For whatever reason, they just don't want to do it. But it's a crazy thing. We'll see. Basically the Cowboys have to change their philosophy if they're going to go Grant, Merrick, even Foots. Let's talk about Holland a little bit because Dane Brugler had him in his mock draft. So they would have to change their philosophy. You know what I mean? The earliest that they've taken a safety was a 3rd round years ago, and that was J.J. Wilcox, a converted running back. That was a complete disaster. So these guys just.
It was a joke. I can't believe Dallas did that stupid shit. Excuse my language.
Right.
That dude just was in no man's land out there. He didn't even. That's what I'm saying. Like, people love me. They call me the DB guy, but my thing is, even back then, it was like, man, this dude can't cover grass. We're just kind of behind on how the NFL is playing, and that's what I don't like. Somebody, I guess, let me get this dude some attention. He's been trolling, so let me get this dude some attention. Foots, bro, y'all gonna let Foots take Newsome at 10. Let me explain this to you, Josh, and Voch would understand this. Okay, this is what we're saying. If you have a clump of DBs, right? There's a clump. There's Horn, there's Surtain, and to me, there's Newsome. And then there's guys like, I wouldn't put Stanford in there, but there's I would not. You can put Stanford in there. There's Asante Samuel. There's the Georgia corners, Tyson Campbell. They're in that next wave. Okay. Yeah. Then there's Washington Kid. That's that next wave of DB that you say, okay, these are the guys that are 2nd round players. If you would take Newsome at 20, you would take him at 10 if you had to. That's all I'm saying. The round or the pick doesn't matter. If you get wiped out and you got that 10-minute, you got to make a pick. You got to make a pick. You have your players stacked. You don't have anywhere to go, and you need a corner. Let's say you get wiped out of your corners and you get wiped out of your tackles. You got to do something if you don't like these linebackers. That's all I'm saying, bro.
And there's other examples of that, Foots, where the Cowboys, they're not listening to us or the fans. Their board is completely different. I mean, Travis Frederick is another example. Traded with San Francisco, got him there at the bottom of the 2nd. They came out and said that that they had a 2nd round grade on Frederick, but they had to take him there because the 2nd round Frederick may not have made it there, so they wanted to get him there, so they took him there. So there's Lawrence, Frederick, Newsome could be that.
Yeah,
that's all we're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. Can they please get a free safety this time, a good one, not one we have to worry about anymore? So my 2 guys right now, let's talk about Jevon Holland, Joe. And I wrote some notes down, but I want to say that for your channel, I really went into the deep dive on the player, and there are reasons I can see why Dane would do that. Dane, another person who is now, I know Voch is probably pissed because he hates Jevon Holland. I wouldn't say that I hate him, but I'll say this: as I really said, because sometimes you watch a guy, you're like, oh, I don't know about this. I'll say this: the athleticism isn't elite. He will stick his nose in there and tackle, and the ball skills are good. So that sounds like a 2nd round safety to me. Is he better than Richie Grant? No. Is he better than Morik? No. I think he's a better tackler than Morik. I don't think he's a better tackler than Grant. He is a better tackler than Morik. I just think that Grant's all around better player. I think that Morik, Morik is roof guy, sideline to sideline. That's just what he does. I mean, he just moves. He moves like a basketball player out there. He's just smooth as crap. And he's never fooled. And playing in that where he played college at TCU, he saw so many different route combinations and everything the team was trying to do. And I was watching his pro day interview. It was dope because he was able to break down like what Oklahoma State was doing. Like, he's really well spoken when it comes to defending the pass. So do you want that, Joe, in a guy where we're in a passing league now? Or do you want a guy like Holland who's a little more grittier, has better ball production, but isn't quite the athlete of either of the two? But like the Jevon Holland is a complete like piece of trash. No, he's not that.
No. Yeah, and it's all, and a lot of this is projection as far as like the safety and the fit, because we have a new coordinator. You know, we have a new I think we got a new safety coach too, don't we?
Yeah, we got a new safety coach. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some changes there that to be considered. So how would this person fit? Are they projecting the defense, the pressure to be improved? If that's the case, maybe you can get away with some of the inadequacies of some of these safeties, you know, outside the first round. You know, you're talking about Holland, maybe even Cisco, maybe Gillespie. You know, there's different flavors. What does Quinn want? You know, we always talk about the traits, foots, and that's what it comes back to, is the traits. Like, I've seen these types of traits in this type of player before. This guy, this potential rookie, has these similar traits to a Cam Chancellor. So maybe I want to make a pick on this for this guy. Or maybe I see, you know, physical traits in this cornerback kind of reminds me of a Richard Sherman, or, you know, Browner, or you know, these types of guys. So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, talking about it, you know, I'm looking at like Dane. Dane has Richie as his one. I have Richie as my one. But I'll be honest with you, I have Andre Cisco over, you know, Jevon Holland. But Dane has him 3. Dane's been doing this a long time, so I have to at least respect what he's saying. That's all. I have to respect what Dane's saying, you know. So that's kind of like, now understand this. The wild card of the group is Tyree Gillespie, because I give Vosh hell because him and Jeff were going around having a Gillespie parade, and I saw the Florida tape, and it didn't even look like he played. But then you cut on the Alabama tape, and it was like, wow. So it's always kind of like interesting pulling back the layers of finding out exactly who these players are. I'll say this about Richie Grant. Joe brought up the point about if you're in striking distance with some of these players, you may have to give up resources. If let's say you get your guy at 10, and you get to pick 38 and Richie Grant still on the board because there's a run on receivers, you may got to make that move if Dallas is serious about playing good defense on the back end. That's how I feel. I feel like Richie Grant is that good. I'm willing to trade my 3rd and have 2 studs in the 1st and 2nd, because I don't have a first round grade on Richie Grant, but I have a high 2, if that's even like a thing, Joe. So I love Richie Grant's game. I think he has attitude to this team. You mean to tell me you would have Keanu Neal, Donovan Wilson, and Richie Grant in that back end? Sign me up.
Yeah, I think if safety is going to go in the 1st or 2nd, there's going to have to be, I think Dan Quinn is going to have to carry that big stick and, you know, say, hey, if we want to get this defense on track, I need my center fielder. Let's get this guy. You know, if we go, whoever we take in the 1st, if it's not safety, 2nd round, hey, he's still out here. Let's go. Let's trade up. You know, we have a 3. We have an extra 3. We have an extra 4. You have that ability to move up and for sure get your guy, because other teams are looking at the same guys we're looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Kezi He's not stopping you from drafting Richie Grant. I'll tell you that. He's
Yeah,
not stopping
no,
me.
he
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
stopping anything.
yeah.
I question if he's gonna start on Pup, man. I mean that injury is too recent, Foots. You know what I mean? Like we talked about that too. I was like, is he gonna participate in OTAs even?
I agree. Let's talk about this one, Joe, and then we'll head out. And you guys catch us on Joe's channel tomorrow. It's been a great show, man. It's been lit. Like I said, I wasn't able to talk as loud as I wanted to because my son, he's back here. I hope he doesn't wake up. Got the lights on. It's a trip getting him to sleep, boy. Johnson, are you talking about Indiana safety Jamar Johnson? Because if so, let's talk about it. I like Jamar Johnson a lot. Here's the thing. I have like a 3-4 on him, but I may have to take him around early because I like him better than Ardarius Washington. I just don't see it with Ardarius Washington. Like he's not fast. And like I think folks are just enamored because he's small and he'll hit you hard, but I don't really see somebody that's great in coverage. So I'm out on Ardarius Washington. But Johnson, I see some good things in the player. And then he had the big game against Ohio State. He's played big time football. He plays with his hair on fire. I like him. I like him a lot, Joe. And I think he's climbing. He's one of those players that's climbing up draft boards as the process happens.
Yeah. I think he's a pretty good center fielder. You know, he's got good hands. You know, tackling probably could be improved, obviously, but that's my only thing on him is the tackling. But tracking the ball, intercepting it, making plays on the ball. I mean, that's what you want your center fielder to do. I mean, but you know, if he could have the tackling cleaned up, in my opinion, I think he would be even more coveted than what he. I mean, he's kind of rising right now. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's moving up boards, and all it takes is one. It only takes one team. And if one team falls in love with you, you're on you're on a roster. But anyway, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you guys so much for joining. Jump on Joe's channel. What time we going tomorrow, Joe?
Tomorrow we'll go probably in the evening, obviously, maybe like 8 o'clock your time, 7 Central.
Yeah. Check. Just stay on board because just stay on deck. We may change it. Who knows? But thank you guys, man. Let me tell you, fam, he's nice. Folks talking about Ardarius. I mean, like I'm not pooping on Ardarius Washington. I just don't think that. I don't know. He's not my flavor right there. Now, Javon Holland actually showed me some things that I liked when I really did a deep dive, and he has nice size, just not the elite athlete that you may want. But yeah, I agree, Guru. This was a great show. Voch came through. Who else came through? April. I just saw April in the chat. She's been a long time listener. DJ always holds us down. So this has been good, man.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone in the chat box. Heck yeah. I see a lot of familiar names out there. Appreciate you guys checking out Foots' stream here. This is fun, Foots. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Yeah, I think next week what I'll do, Joe, leading up to what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some ranking. So I think I'm gonna do my corners, do a 10-player ranking. I'm gonna do my corners, I'm gonna do my safeties, and I'm gonna do my linebackers. I'm gonna hit those positions. Those are the positions that I scout really, really well. Oh, Joe, you do a great job with the linemen. You always have a good hold on the linemen. So, and Joe just has a good hold on draft news. Like I honestly get a lot of my draft news from Joe. Like it's crazy because he does a good job with the Nuggets and finding out who the Cowboys are really interested in. So, Anyway, man,
a lot of good creators out there. You know, you're bringing the best draft coverage. I think Cowboys Nation has the best creators out there for this time of year, especially.
Yeah, I'll just say me and Joe started it. Nah, it's all good, man. It's good, guys. Anyway, we're gonna head out. As always, pound the like button, share this video. I'm gonna leave it up. It's your boy Foots. Hey, oh Joe, plug yourself real quick. Where you can
you guys hit me up on YouTube. That's Cowboys Blog, and come back here tomorrow night. You know, hit us up, hit that bell notification so you can catch Foots and I bringing you another fun evening of draft talk, baby. Let's get to it.
Let's roll.